there, warm welcome. You're watching Blueprint Explosive Exclusive and I'm Meghna Deka. Well, are we on the brink of World War III? Not just in the near future, but as soon as tonight, even while we sleep, will Trump strike Iran? That is a possibility. And that too, said by a former American intelligence officer. He claims that Trump has decided to attack Iran on Monday or Tuesday. It's a stunning claim. After all, Ayatollah Khamenei-led Iran has already warned of a strong retaliation if America strikes. Add to the mix the rumors that Iran is merely 1 week away from enriching uranium and making its first ever nuclear bomb if it wishes to. So is there a nuclear cloud on the horizon? If US strikes, the Western world will be dragged into the war, and the Middle East will be thrown into a turmoil. We will tell you all about the 10-day ultimatum by Trump and how the window for Iran going nuclear is slowly closing. Let's not forget, Trump's approval rating has been slipping back home. Their Supreme Court has torpedoed his tariffs, and Epstein files have dented Trump's image. So will a wounded and cornered Trump be dangerous as well? After all, a spectacular strike on Iran may just salvage his approval ratings ahead of his midterm polls in November. Well, the first to press the alarm of an impending strike tonight or tomorrow, as early as that, is American journalist and former CIA agent John Kiriakou. He has cited White House sources to claim that Trump has decided to attack Iran on Monday or on Tuesday. He cited a former CIA agent to add that battle lines have also been drawn within the Trump team, that only J.D. Vance, the vice president, and Tulsi Gabbard, the head of their intelligence, are against the plan to strike Iran. However, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth have all reportedly emerged as vehement supporters of the plan alongside all the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So, most of Team Trump is in favor of a strike before Iran enriches uranium. Now, viewers, a barrage of blows are confronting Donald Trump right now that it's turning into a politically perfect storm for Trump. How is this a season of setbacks for him? Well, let's tell you. Well, first setback is the 38,000 plus mentions of his name which have appeared in the unsealed Epstein files so far. Let's not forget, another big setback for him came just end of last week when the American Supreme Court blocked key tariffs. In fact, called it illegal to use it in this manner against other nations. Third setback for Trump has been the Russia-Ukraine war deadlock, which he promised that he's going to solve immediately after he comes to power. But even after 4 years, there is only stalemate. Of course, the approval ratings. Approval ratings for Trump have dropped to a record low of 38%. Well, viewers, the political slide, as you can see, is getting more and more slippery for Donald Trump. Fresh, in fact, inputs which are coming in. Let's tell you what the popularity ratings have been. In fact, this, as per the Reuters Ipsos polling points, they say that there is a steady erosion in the public support over the past year. What began as a relatively strong approval phase throughout the early 2025 in the first part of Donald Trump's second tenure, it has slipped month after month. In fact, we're going to show you the numbers there on your screens. You can see it for yourself, how steadily the numbers have been declining. 49% is what it was when he had been sworn in January to March. The approval ratings then dropped from 49. By April-June, it was 47, 2 points down. Now, from the quarter of July to September, it came further down to 42%, and then it came further down to 40. Today, as we speak, it rests at 38%. This is an all-time low of 38% for February 2026, all the way 11% down from when he had started 1 year, 1 month back in power. Now, viewers, it's not just his approval ratings which have dropped. As per another Ipsos poll which was conducted this year, Trump's disapproval ratings have also gone up significantly. Let's tell you in what specific aspects are Americans pressing unlike on Trump. Well, first, his approach to the inflation management. He had said he's going to come in and ensure that he checks in inflation. However, 65% people who have been surveyed say they disapprove of the way he has managed inflation. Also, 62% of the people disapprove of his approach to foreign ties, especially with the friendly nations such as India, for example. Also, 60% of Americans surveyed disapprove of Trump's policies on trade and using tariff. All of this, remember, is one blow after the other. There's also 58% people who disapprove on Trump's approach to immigration, how he is solving or taking care of the immigration problem. Then there is a whopping 57% disapproval rate, which comes on Trump's management and his approach towards managing the American economy. Indeed, this is a double whammy for Trump. Disapproval ratings have been shooting up, approval ratings have been slipping down. So viewers, the rhetoric is escalating, and it is escalating fast. From deadlines to strike talk, tensions have spiked off. A warning today has now come in that the strike is impending tomorrow on Iran. Because after all, what takes care of approval ratings better than a military situation? Well, let's tell you about Trump's ultimatum to Iran so that you have a sense of what the timeline of this has been. On 19th of February, Trump had said that bad things happen without a deal. Then he said it gives us 10 to 15 days maximum time to figure out. After that, bad things will happen. The next day, on 20th of February, Trump said that he is considering a limited strike on Iran, saying that it's better to negotiate a very fair deal, warning of a limited strike. Then on 22nd of February, he said, you will find out soon, very soon. Those are his words. How soon is very soon? But is Trump setting his finger on the strike button? Is he ready with it? Well, a devastating US air campaign may be imminent, given its strategic military deployment that we have seen of Trump by 2 of the warships and fleet of jets. US Navy's nuclear-powered warship, the USS Abraham Lincoln, is currently projecting its power from the Arabian Sea. This Nimitz-class aircraft carrier moves incredibly fast. It exceeds 35 miles per hour in the open ocean. It can strike and strike anytime. And then there is a ring of steel. Don't think that this USS Abraham Lincoln is going to be sitting as a sitting duck. There is an entire ring of steel which is going to be protecting it. Abraham Lincoln is not a sitting duck. There is a multi-layered Aegis combat network at its disposal. It's escorting the Arleigh-Burke class destroyers, which are armed with RIM 174 standard missiles as well. Interceptors are there. It's capable of destroying incoming ballistic and cruise threats hundreds of miles away. Furthermore, the carrier's own combat air patrols, which are highly active as well. In fact, they've already been tested to be very active. This is what really awaits Iran in case they decide a preemptive strike. The strike group proving that the shield is already ready and active and awaiting. And then enters the USS Gerald R. Ford, the lead Ford-class aircraft carrier that has been redeployed from the Caribbean Sea to the Arabian Sea. The nuclear-powered supercarrier can launch over 75 aircraft, and this includes advanced fighter jets, surveillance planes, and helicopters equipped with next-gen radar, electromagnetic launch systems, and massive strike capability. It is amongst the most powerful warships that have ever been built. There are also satellite images which have been accessed by a publication on Friday, which shows that more than 60 attack aircrafts have been parked at US's airbase in central Jordan. The flight data has added that at least 68 cargo planes have landed in Jordan at the US airbase there since Sunday itself. But it doesn't just stop there. There is, as I was telling you earlier, a nuclear cloud which is brewing in the horizon. Is Iran just a week away from producing bomb-grade uranium? Which means that enriched uranium, which could be used to make a nuclear bomb? Well, remember, Trump administration is still concerned about the Khamenei-led Iran, despite the fact that US has already bombed multiple nuclear sites in Iran. This happened, if you remember, under Operation Midnight Hammer, which happened in summer of 2025. But after that, they have had time to regroup since then. In fact, President Trump's special envoy to the region, Steve Witkoff, has expressed concerns about the domestic pressure increasing in Iran. In fact, in an interview, Witkoff has said that Iran could theoretically be just a week away from enriching uranium to weapons-grade levels. However, he did not mention that Iran currently has no access to the necessary material, lacks the equipment required for enrichment, and has no active weapons program to put such material to operational use. However, despite that, Witkoff has said, I'm going to quote him verbatim here, Iran is a week away from industrial-grade bomb-making material, and that's really dangerous. So Iran just can't have that. What is the meaning of all these messaging, the posturing, the strategic deployment of warships, and the warnings which are coming in? Is the world on the brink of World War III? That's the question I'm going to be asking my panelists tonight. Joining us today, we have Vibhuti Jha, the former Republican candidate for New York Assembly. Also joining us, Sarah Spector, attorney as well as an analyst with the Democrats. I'm going to first start with you, Vibhuti Jha. What do we make of all these indications coming in? Is Trump all set to strike tonight, even tomorrow? Is it true that Team Trump is giving it a go-ahead?
Thank you, Megha, for having me today. And I wanted to say something very simple. It is never so simple as it looks. And, the threat of war has been going on ever since. And I think this is posturing of its own kind. I personally feel that, and I don't have inside track on it, nobody has, only Trump mind knows and the generals know what is eventually going to happen. But I feel there will be no war. There will be no attacks. For the simple reason that many alternates are being proposed as well. As you may have probably heard, Lindsey Graham had said at Munich conference that if Iran doesn't want to enrich uranium, and it's only for peaceful purposes, nuclear system, then all your power needs will be provided from nuclear power plants set up in Europe. You don't need enrichment plants. So this is where the sincerity of purpose is being tested as well.
Okay.
And I think I'm very clear about it. Who is interested in war right now?
No
Prime
one.
Minister Modi has been on record saying this is not an era of war. You and I know, and the rest of the world knows, that human mind is wired in such a way that we seek conflict. There's a military-industrial complex running the situation. Everybody knows about it. It's no longer a storyline. You and I know, the world knows, the military-industrial complex, whether Republican or Democrat, is running the world. You mentioned in your opening very nicely, you said that maybe a distraction will be a war in Iraq for Trump to save his ratings. Let's not forget, Obama and Clinton both did raids like this, attacks to divert from attention from Monica Lewinsky, and Obama with his own storyline. So you are looking at the wag the dog syndrome.
But that's precisely the point, Vibhuti Jha, that it's happened in the past, it may just happen again. Sarah Spector, that's where you're going to be coming in. Because, as we were just discussing, approval ratings are down. This is the lowest ever he's had in this term. We've seen what's happened in the Supreme Court. Trump tariffs have been struck down. Epstein files have singed his fingers. Is this going to be the Hail Mary, for all you know, ahead of the midterm polls for Trump, to make it a war-like situation?
I'll tell you why. This is very important to
I'll just come to you. Vibhuti Jha, I'll just come to you. Sarah Spector, let me bring her in and I'll give you enough time to respond.
Sure.
I don't know what he's doing. He's highly unstable and erratic, and he's surrounded himself with a lot of erratic, unstable people. We have a huge buildup that we haven't seen in 2 or 3 decades in in the Gulf, surrounding Iran, huge buildup, and it's an expensive posturing. I mean, we've got
absolutely
warships there. If it's posturing, it's costing American taxpayers a lot of money. And I can tell you this: if he's doing this to divert from his bad approval ratings, most of Trump's supporters voted him in on a isolationist policy. They did not vote him in to attack other countries. So if he does attack Iran, it is not going to help him in his approval ratings.
Okay.
But I don't think Trump is really thinking about approval ratings. I agree. I think he's just sort of likes to blow up things. I just don't think he thinks of consequences anymore. It's like a 3-year-old child.
Vibhuti Ja, you have a better explanation. He just likes to blow up things, is what Sarah Specter says, without a rationale.
No, you are right about that. You see, let's kind of agree on something. America has significant unfinished agenda. Sarah must comment on this as well, because ever since I came to this country in '91, I have been hearing same saga, same story in every presidential campaign. Comprehensive immigration reform, cleaning up the swamp in DC, war on drugs, child sex racket, stopping child sex racket, and since 9/11, war on terror. Has America won any of its wars? Has any president done anything about it? The answer is categorical no. Obama, if you look at the videos of Obama, Clinton, Hillary, Bernie Sanders speak about immigration, I would say Trump is making a big mistake of making an issue. Just release those videos and keep saying as an ad, message approved by Donald Trump. That itself will rattle the Democrats. And I'm equally critical about Republicans as well. Does it mean that America is incapable of solving its problems, or we don't want to solve the problems? That's a key issue. So comprehensive, all these issues that you are talking about, you just look up the videos of Bill Clinton speaking in the State of the Union in his time. Look up the video of Obama speaking from the White House podiums about illegal immigration. Look at Hillary Clinton, look at Nancy Pelosi, Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was a cruel joke. He even said that the illegal immigration is fostered by Republicans because they want to they hurt the American labor earnings by bringing cheap labor. Guess what? Trump should be playing these videos to the public for whatever. Regarding the approval ratings, I don't think Trump cares for approval ratings at this point. He doesn't have the third term to fight. So that is not a matter. He is clearly interested in solving the problems, which is not happening because, as you said very correctly, Megha, that democracy operates on control and checks and balances. So Supreme Court has struck down the tariff under a particular emergency act. It didn't say tariffs are illegal. The Supreme Court also said it is a constitutional requirement by the Congress.
And there's a plan B that he's already put in place. But that's where I bring in Sarah Specter. Is it all helping? Because if you look at the disapproval ratings, that's just as important as the approval rating. When it comes specifically to handling trade and tariffs, 60% of the Americans who have been surveyed say that it is wrong. They disapprove. When it comes specifically to the way that Trump has dealt with foreign affairs, with diplomacy, 62% disapprove of his handling diplomacy as well. So what are the indications? Is Trump going to have any takeaways from this as he deals with it in the next week, next month?
Well, first of all, as far as comprehensive immigration reform and checks and balances, first of all, he has both houses of Congress. Senator Langford from Oklahoma over a year and a half ago put forth a really, really good comprehensive immigration reform plan, which was nuked by the president and threatened any senator or congressman who voted for it, and they had the votes, that they would be primaried. So the reason we don't have comprehensive reform is thanks to Trump. And that bill is still out there. It's a great bill. It's conservative, and they could pass it tomorrow if they wanted to, but they can't. And because they won't, because they're afraid of Trump. Second of all, the tariffs are extremely unpopular. It has caused, I mean, I live in Midland, Texas. This is, you know, the heart of the oil country here, and Trump ran on drill, baby, drill. Well, we haven't been drilling. It's one of the worst years ever for the oil industry, and a lot of the reason is the expense of the products that we use to make our rigs. They come from overseas, and they're tariffed, and so it costs us a lot more to drill and produce oil right now. And the reason why we don't see it in consumer pricing right now is that because Saudi Arabia is flooding the market with oil, and so it's not domestic oil that we're buying, it's foreign. So it's caused a lot of grief all over the United States, the tariffs. And to me, the Supreme Court has done Trump a huge favor by overturning these tariffs. He needs to just take the loss and say, oh, the Supreme Court wouldn't let me do it, and let the economy get back on track. That's what I would tell him to do.
But will he do that recalibration? Vibhuti Ja, things are going against President Trump, be it the popularity ratings, be it the Supreme Court's ruling, be it the way the Russia-Ukraine war is never ending, despite the promise that he had made when he was sworn in. Will he recalibrate?
Oh, there is one of the things about businessmen, CEOs, and we work with a lot of them, is the ability to reposition is key. In any kind of a scenario, corporate leaders always recalibrate their steps. If something is not working, let's try something else. Trump was himself the person who said, why are we in Middle East when these tribal people don't solve their own problem? They keep fighting against themselves, each other. Why are we there at all? It's a fundamental question. Ukraine, I never thought that I would quote Putin here, but Putin himself said in one of those interviews that the media in the West controls the narrative so powerfully that they will never know what we are actually doing or what the rest of the world wants to do. That you know, Megha, I don't have to tell you that. The entire woke media, leftist-driven, democratic, extra-liberal media, the narratives are built around. So what is going to happen? There will be recalibration. Trump was pompous in his declaration. I agree that his choice of words and the way he says things puts him in jeopardy.
But I find it very interesting that Vibhuti Ja, not just you, many people talk about Trump strategizing like a CEO, like a corporate honcho, instead of a president. But let's not forget, the bottom line when it comes for a president is not numbers. The bottom line here is lives of people in America and across the globe as well who get impacted. Which is why I don't quite agree with the bottom line strategy here when you compare a president with a corporate CEO. But we leave it there. We'll have to wait and see. Many have said that tonight, maybe World War III if Trump decides to strike. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Appreciate it, Vibhuti Ja, as well as Sarah Spector for joining us here on the show. Without a short break, don't go anywhere.